Okay, so the first thing we need to understand about Git is the concept of what is a commit. Okay, so before we can do that, we have to have like a little area on our computer in which Git is ready to listen and ready to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm on my desktop. I'm going to make a directory called my repository. So I'm going to make that directory. Got it. There it is on my desktop. I'm going to change into that directory. So now I'm in my directory, and you can see that here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, make this this folder called my repository, make it be a Git repository. So what is a Git repository? We'll learn that. But the way I'm going to do that is with a particular command, git init. Again, memorizing the commands is not quite as important as knowing what they do. So this particular one turns this folder into a folder that Git is listening to. It's called the Git repository. Okay, so now because I've got this, I can use the magical command that you should use all the time, which is git status, like what is going on right now. So there's a bunch of stuff going on here. On branch master, no commits yet, nothing to commit. Like, I don't know what any of that means. So the number one thing we need to do to begin with is like put a file in here. So let's make some files. So I'm going to say code hello.py. I'll make a Python file. Okay, so I've got this, and I'll just say print hello world. Great. So I've got, oh my, what's going on here? I don't need you. Go away, please. Hey, cool. No, thanks. What files are in this folder? I've got hello.py, and I've saved it. So in some sense, you say like the file is safe. It's been saved. But if I now change it, so if I open it up again, and then I say, and I somehow break it, so like I go to this and I save it, and now if I were to try and run it, it's like, this doesn't work anymore, buddy. It's going to give me an error. So the whole point behind Git and why you should care is that when you have to save the file in order to run it if it's a code file. Like there's no like run it before you save it kind of thing. So it has to be saved. And so if you wanted to go back to a previous version, you may not be able to do that because you've overwritten the file. So the way that Git gets around this is by doing what's called a commit. And you should think of that as being sort of like a snapshot in time. So if we go back to our code file and we bring it back to its original format here, which was this. So now it's good to go. What we've got here is our file, and we might want to make changes to it in the future. But we want to snapshot this working version of the file first. So that's where Git comes in. So if I now say git status, I'm going to see that I have some untracked files. So Git doesn't know whether it should pay attention to this file or not pay attention to this file. Later we'll see that there's files that you just don't want Git to track because they're not important files, but they kind of like technically have to be there. So what we need to do is we need to say, yes, Git, you should actually follow this file. So we add that to its list of tracked files. So it's git, and then the word add, and then hello.py. So now when I do this and I do a status, what I'm going to see is that it doesn't literally say it's tracking it, but what it says is they're ready to be committed. So what I can now do is I can make my first commit. So I can say git commit, and then for reasons that will become clear later, I'm going to put this -m, and then I'm going to write some message here. So I'm going to say initial commit. Okay, so that's git commit -m quotes initial commit end quotes. So I'm going to run that. So now if I do git status, it's going to go back to that initial version of nothing to commit, and then it's going to say working tree clean. Okay, fine. So what just happened? That file's still here. Nothing really is going on, except I now have made that snapshot in time. So if I were to go through and make this mistake of breaking my file, and then I say like, oh, I'm going to run my file. Oh, it's going to be great. Look at my amazing program. Oh no, it's broken. I've made some horrible change. And I don't remember what the old version was. You can actually go back to that by using various git commands. So this particular part is not the most important fact for you to know. But if I say git status, oh, I've modified this file, I want to go back to this change. There's all kinds of ways you can do that. So I think the one that I'm used to is like git checkout hello.py, and if I do this, yeah, it changes it back. So you can get back to that initial snapshot. So that's the idea about what is a commit. So now if we were to change this by adding some like good code, again, this is all sort of like silly, but my Python here. So now I've added more code. I'm going to make another commit. And so here's the mistake that everybody makes. They say, I need to commit this code. Okay, great. And it's going to yell at you like, you can't commit because you have untracked files. So even though I told it to track hello.py before, it's not tracking it now. So I need to like actually have it track now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say git add hello.py. So it's going to track it. You'll learn why this like tracking is important later. Like for now it's an annoyance, but I promise you it will not be later. Okay, and then git commit -m added a question. Okay, so now if I do a git status, everything looks good. And so I'm going to show you one more command that's really useful, and that is git log. So when I look at this git log, what I see here is I see two chunks. I see that commit with a big long string of text after it. I'm the author, the date when it happened, and then the words added a question, and then another block with initial commit. And so what you want to imagine here is that what you're creating is like a tree of commits. And so we usually draw them with circles, and we draw them with arrows kind of pointing backwards from whence they came. And so what I've created here is this one that has this initial commit here. And I've got this other one which was added a question. And so what I've created actually now is two snapshots in time, and the later one points back to the first one so that it knows where it came from. That arrow will eventually be super important for us. But I now have two snapshots. You can see the two snapshots here, and I can revisit the code from either snapshot if I wanted to. Okay, so that's probably enough for this first video. We have commits. We have the very basics of a commit tree here, and we have the git and init command, and the log and the status. And hopefully we all understand what those various things do. Okay.